Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna take this. Behind you.
I'd say I was a preppy jock. That was also the captain of the drama club. You know, I love to act. I've always liked to be the center of attention, and I've always liked sports. So, you know, kind of mix of the three. You know, I'd go to school and I'd get my work done, and when I'd come home, it was always going outside and playing hockey with friends or going to football practice and stuff like that. So a lot of my life as a young kid really revolved around sports and being active and being outside and enjoying nature, as opposed to being inside and playing video games and, you know, not actually exploring and meeting new people. I never exactly labeled myself as a cool kid. I just labeled myself as a kid that nobody had a problem with. I mean, I've always liked to sing, just in general, since I was a kid. And I started doing musicals in grade 5, just, you know, lead roles and stuff like that, and getting comfortable being on stage in front of people. I've always felt like I've been a performer in the sense that I like to be on stage and I like to see people reacting to the way that I'm doing things. With the mix of those two, it kind of just eventually became, you know, maybe with your own problems you can release what you're thinking in the music and write your own music. And for me, music just started off as therapy, and now it's become something that I cherish and hold close to my heart. I've always been sort of in touch with the pain that I've gone through. Like my parents divorced very young, and I also watched a lot of abuse within my family, so I was very used to what I was seeing. I knew my feelings and I was very comfortable with them. They weren't foreign to me. So going through them, a lot of it wasn't really like sappy and, oh, I'm in pain. It's more like, what can I do to help myself? Every day, I just work on music because at the end of the day, there's nothing that's made me feel as good as making music and trying to express myself in that way. I've been kicked out more than 10 times throughout my life with my parents. You know, being on the streets throughout junior high and high school was really tough for me because it felt like I didn't have support and I didn't have the love that a lot of kids did. I may have acted out and I may have tried to seem a little more as a tough guy and a person that doesn't need anybody because, you know, I went through my own problems of not having enough love or not having enough care for my own family, so I had to find that for myself. It was grade 10 in high school. It was 11 p.m. at night. I honestly still to this day can't remember what I did that cheesed my parents out so much because I don't remember doing anything circumstantial compared to things that they had kicked me out in the past. I had to call up my friend who lived in Strathmore, and he had to drive an hour and a half to come pick me up, and I lived with him for a good 3.5 months. And since that point, it shifted my whole thinking in, if your parents aren't going to care for you, you got to care for you. And that's not like any hostility towards my mom, because I understand where she comes from and why she did it, but at the same time, you know, it also raised me to be very independent and see things for myself and want to do things for myself as opposed to having people help me out. The thing about music is when I listen to music and I can relate to it, it puts a feeling of safety and comfort in me, and if I can bring that same sense of safety and comfort to other people, then that's all that I can ask for. Being a person that has struggled with depression, anxiety, and suicide, this is just kind of my niche, and this is something that I needed to get out regardless. It's always something that's on my brain, so without a question, it was, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I represent. At the end of the day, nobody's gonna love you the way that you can love you, so you need to learn to love yourself before anybody else will.
I tried to talk to God but couldn't get him on the line. The devil had my number and he called me just in time. Ribbons on my arm, roses on my casket. Tried to talk to God but couldn't get him on the line. The devil had my number and he called me just in time. Ribbons on my arm, roses on my casket. The smell of alcohol, it lingers fresh. I finger death cause I got bigger things to sweat. Like if I grip this tech and if my finger took another simple step, or simply do my civil duty, doing things I could regret. I search for purpose, I'm hurting, I need these curtains to close. I go to churches and verses, they're bursting, searching for hope. Just a person who's cursed and I'm working, curving the ghost. Learning to bury my burdens by slowly pulling the smoke. Man of religion, a man on a mission who plan on a vision consistent of all of the panic and manic I'm feeling is drifted and vanished, so I can be different and actually stand on my feet where I don't have to mask any feelings. Yeah, wanna be real when they ask how I'm feeling. That's been lurking, searching for me thick and thin, but I keep avoiding him cause it's a fight I'm supposed to win. And if you wanna point the finger, pointing back at you is 10, cause every time you're thinking loose, he's near, relax and understand we're friends.